Bonjour and welcome to La French Tech On Air, our European video podcast series on business and technology. In Europe, La French Tech ecosystem is made of 27 communities. They are connecting local innovation to the French startup scene, creating a bridge to European tech movement. My name is Billy Yen. I am the co-founder of La French Tech Cracovie, and I will be your host and moderator for this podcast episode. Today, we'll speak about growth with Romain Rebour, President of La French Tech Cracovie. Romain, welcome. We are very happy to have you here for this podcast episode.
Thank you, Billy. Very glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Very happy. That's my honor. So let's start with a few words about yourself. Can you introduce yourself and your role in La French Tech?
So I'm a French guy in Krakow since 4 years. Previously, I was 3 years in Prague in Czech Republic. I'm an entrepreneur in the tech. So basically my competencies are mostly around talent marketplaces, because today I'm co-founder of Squad Gurus Marketplace, which is a platform which connects IT services companies with demand from Western Europe and US. And they can connect, they can work together with clients and create success stories. So I run projects, staff augmentation, and manage teams. So at the beginning, I was really involved in the consulting area around IT, from business developer to country manager for Czech Republic, from service delivery managers. And my job was basically for 5 years to build delivery centers for companies like AT&T, IBM, Microsoft, and so on, all around Central Europe. So one day I discovered Krakow ecosystem because I had a project for another company there with 40 engineers. And I saw that it's where I want to live. The city is beautiful. It's nice. It's really international. A lot of students, really open and in development with a tech ecosystem, which is just being born. So I decided to let my luggage there and start my own companies. And, I'm not planning to leave. It's perfect here.
That's a beautiful story and really impressive journey, by the way. And so I guess along this journey, you decided to create La French Tech Cracovie. So why that?
Yeah, and actually you know it well, Billy, because we are working together for some projects
Exactly.
in the French Tech. So the French Tech was an idea because at the beginning it was in 2018, and I saw that there is no representation of the tech community from France in Poland, not even in Warsaw, in the capital city. And we united with different tech entrepreneurs in Krakow and decided to propose our application to the French Tech Mission in Paris to have one community in Krakow. So we got labelized in April 2019. And since then, we are working on the tech ecosystem to make, to give a spotlight for French companies coming to Poland or Polish companies who are interested to work with France. So we are here to provide our knowledge from the ground, from our experience. We have volunteers. We have a foundation called La French Tech Pologne, and it helps us to propose interesting events, to propose direct mentoring. Basically, we are here to help making the connection between the French and the Polish tech ecosystem.
Yeah, that's, I can say that it's amazing based on real experience, my own experience. So I really approve that. And can you tell us a bit more about the members and the community of the French Tech Cracovie ecosystem?
Just to give you a glimpse of the full Krakow tech ecosystem, and then I will speak a little bit about the French touch inside that. So the tech ecosystem of Krakow is composed of around 500 tech companies, startups, scale-ups, not unicorns yet, but it will come. It represents 50,000 IT employees. If we talk only about IT, there are also engineers for different fields, but that's the biggest part of the ecosystem. It's IT. In Krakow, you have 9,000 students. So, every year we have new engineers coming. This is the main concentration of engineers in Poland around universities. And among these 500 tech companies, we can say that there are 40, 50 CEOs. So around like 8-10%, maybe around like linked with the French community, which is a lot. So it's the French tech ecosystem, if we can call it like that, when there is a French CEO at the top of a tech company in Krakow, is pretty interesting, is growing. And there are not only like CEOs, French CEOs at the top of companies, but there are also French companies coming to Poland and to Krakow. We can talk about some unicorns from France, like Miro, like OVH, like BlaBlaCar. So we have pretty interesting French companies starting in Poland, starting their operation. And sometimes it's just to have a R&D team, because engineers in Poland are excellent. They are the best of Europe around IT, definitely. And sometimes it's also to explore the market. We're talking about 40 million customers in the developing countries, which are raising their expectation about consumption, about like the wallet they can spend. So it's a growing country. It's in development, and it's pretty interesting. So we can talk also about the big actors, like the massive distribution companies which are present in Poland. There are Decathlon, there are Auchan, Carrefour, all the main distribution brands are there, but also high-tech companies which are also driving the ecosystem, like Capgemini, like BNP Paribas, Crédit Agricole, Safran, Thales. They all have entities around with R&D in Poland. So, France is also bringing some the maturity of the French ecosystem is coming to Poland, let's say. It also brings some investment. We're talking about 20 billion euros investment from France per year in Poland. And today there are around 200,000 employees in Poland working for French companies. So there is definitely an ecosystem linked between France and Poland.
Yeah, we can say that Poland and France have a strong bond already. And thanks for the very extensive introduction. And I believe that it can help a lot of our audience understand more how the Polish tech scene looks like. And talking about that, can you share a bit of a few names or few companies, startups, scale up that people can keep an eye on coming from Krakow?
Coming from Krakow, for example, you have Brainly. It's a super great startup, and which has the potential to be a unicorn, definitely. So Brainly is an expert on online learning and self-development. We have, for example, Talent Alpha, which helps companies to don't have to get more projects into IT. It's kind of HR talent management platform. We have Booksy, which is interesting also. It's a booking system mainly for healthcare or for beauty booking, like barbershop, cosmetics shops, and it expanded so quickly in United States that now they are the primary market. So yeah, plenty of interesting companies, mostly in IT. Today we have few, let's say, unicorns. I consider them then like unicorns. Officially they are not, but they are so massive now that they can be valuated more than 1 billion euro. So we talk about CD Projekt Red. Maybe you know this name. They are it's a gaming producer, editor. For example, they did The Witcher, or they did also Cyberpunk. So they are based in Poland. We have also Allegro, which is basically the Amazon of Poland. Or if we talk about France, it can be not Le Bon Coin, but more like Cdiscount, marketplace. And maybe the last one will be InPost. InPost, they are providing Pashkomat. So there are devices in the streets where you can take your delivery. So it's kind of, it's a box where you can just send a code and it will open and give you your package. Recently, they bought a French company called Mondial Relais, and they will expand in France very quick, I think, because when we saw the expansion in Poland, I think they can do the same in France.
Yeah, no, they are everywhere. And actually, fun fact is that during COVID time, their business went to the sky. It went like everywhere, obviously, for the circumstances of that period. But yeah, thanks a lot. And with those vibrant companies and energetic ecosystem, how the French Tech Cracovie is participating to the community?
So, the tech ecosystem in Poland, or let's say in Krakow, is growing, is getting to a level of good maturity. We have VCs, we have acceleration funds, we have incubators, co-working spaces, we have also PRRP, which is kind of BPI France, so the public investment bank pushing the ecosystem. And we have innovation departments in the city, in the region where Krakow is located. So we have good ingredients, and this is how we are cooperating with the tech scene. We are talking to each actors to see how we can help them, and we are doing some tailor-made programs for these actors, and especially for startups. Don't forget them. So, for example, I will give you some examples. We organized some learning expedition for Polish startups in Lyon, in France, in cooperation with the community of Lyon Saint-Etienne. So they explore the market in France for 1 week with our help and Lyon partners. And the same, we did a learning expedition for 5 French companies from Lyon to Poland, in Warsaw and Krakow. So this is how we can help directly. Also, we are doing tailor-made mentoring depending what they need. For example, we are mentoring a French company which is expert in electricity trading. So they wanted to come to Poland, and 1 hour per month. We were giving them some advices, checking how they are going ahead and so on. So it's really like independent and really tailor-made. What else? We are also talking with the city and with big companies to improve the environment. To decrease the pollution, because in Poland that's a huge issue, especially in winter. In the region close to Poland, there is Silesia, so it's the main producer of coal in Europe. So the electricity is not super clean by the production in the region. So this is a big issue, and France has a lot of technologies which can be brought to Poland. I always say that the green tech is the main sector for opportunities in Poland. So that's what we are doing. We are presenting to the city, to the region, some interesting technologies, and we implement some pilots to see if it can work for the smog of Krakow. We are also doing that with French companies to decrease their impact around pollution in Poland. doing some sourcing of startups, some pitch contests. We are doing a lot of events. This is how we can help also. So with partners, for example, with the French Chamber of Commerce or with the accelerator called The Earth, the biggest in Poland, we are doing we are participating to some moderation for pitch contest. For example, we did it with OVH in January around the cloud and medical tech scene. We are also doing our own events, and feel free to come if you are watching us. We have a cycle of events called Aperotech, and it's basically some fire chat with big brands, big CEOs, also some pitch contests and some panel discussions. So it will be around specific topics, and it will be 4 events between 2022 and 2023 in Krakow with 200 people and online. And we'll talk about talents, we'll talk about cloud, we'll talk about diversity, many different topics. But stay tuned, you will see it on our social network. So
I can only recommend this event. And actually that's a lot of different actions, and that's pretty impressive. You talked earlier about CCI and a lot of different activities. And I want to ask, for people who might not be very familiar with the French ecosystem, how do you collaborate and work with, for instance, the Chamber of Commerce or even Business France? How does it work? How the collaboration look like?
So there are different French entities in Poland. For example, there are the consulate of Krakow. There is the embassy of France in Warsaw. There is Business France, which is the business department in international, present in every countries of the world. There is the French Chamber of Commerce, French-Polish Chamber of Commerce, which is more focused on big companies and helping them. There is the Institut Français. There are plenty of different entities, but today what we represent and how we can help them is the information around the tech ecosystem of Poland, bringing innovation to their activities. For example, with the French-Polish Chamber of Commerce, they bring big CEOs or head of innovation department from big companies like Michelin, like Crédit Agricole, like Decathlon, and we present them some Polish and French startups which can help them around one topic. We did it, for example, with Handitech, so the technology for disabled people, and that was a beautiful event, definitely. And we did it around the green tech, also around retail. So we are here to understand the ground, understand what is the technology we can find, which are possible to implement, and present it to the big actors. So we have this capacity of connection between the big firms and the little startups. So yeah, that's how we cooperate together with French entities. We are let's say we are the Mr. Tech for the French entities.
Yeah, that's really well described. And a bit about, some fun fact, because obviously there's a lot of things happening here. Can you give us maybe one, big success of La French Tech Cracovie, but also one big fail, or maybe something like that you could improve, or something that you can take as a lesson?
Big successes for me, it's when companies French companies understand the potential of Poland and start their operation there and start their business. This is basically what I love. We can talk about Papernest, for example. Papernest is it's a scale up from France, from Paris. They are providing free of charge services when you need to move from one flat to another one. So they transfer, your contract for electricity, gas, water, internet, and all that for free. So it's pretty useful. And, at the beginning, they were interested about Poland, but they didn't really know the market. So we explained them. They came to Poland. We showed them like how it is working, presenting them the ecosystem. And they needed to find a partner which can help them to build an IT team at the beginning. And so we connected them, and then they stayed for 2 years, no, for 1 year with 3 developers, which they integrated in their company. They build one entity, and now they are starting their business operation. So they will spread Paper Nest around Poland. So for me, that's a big success. There are plenty of examples like that. It means we are useful. And in the, and it works also backward. Polish companies are asking our help to understand the French market. And because, it can be scary, nobody speaks English in France. So you need to understand the local rules and all that. So, the pain. So anyway, we are here to explain clearly what involves an implementation in France. Also, our successes is when a startup is starting to collaborate with a big firm, and making connections and expanding. Sometimes we have French companies who are trying to penetrate one account in France, but thanks to an event in Poland we are organizing, they can access to this account and work with them and then expand in France. So it's it's funny. And let's talk about fail also, because not everything is success. If you're an entrepreneur, you know that.
Exactly. You need to fail to learn.
Yes. And so about the fail, 2019 was the creation of French Tech. End of 2019 was beginning of COVID. And we are really based, on events. So it slowed down a bit our activities. We adapted, by doing online events, some webinars, and so on. But it's not so easy. We are connectors, and when we can't meet the people, talk with them, build relationship, because between screen is not ideal. Well, it's slowed down a bit the activity. So that was a fail, but it was a long term fail because
that was a long fail for everyone.
Yeah, but anyway, now it's finished, and we are back on track.
You're French, I'm French. We all know that we miss a bit of French. So before we go talking a bit more about technology, can you tell us what you miss the most in France?
You know what I will say, huh? Charcuterie, fromage, pain, the bread and the cheese and so on. My family, my friends, all that, I was educated in France. So for me, it's like, it's normal. I think for everybody in the world, it's the same kind of feeling. But if I can talk about the tech ecosystem, I think that Krakow and the Polish tech ecosystem is getting mature. It's pretty interesting to be there at that time. Later it's gonna be too late for the entrepreneurs who want to take advantage of this dynamism. It's not mature enough to pretend to do some fundraising of 1 million, 10 million euros. But there are some mechanisms which can help. But I think the most interesting about Poland today can be the new way of consumption and the growing, the development of Poland, and it can attract a lot of business. But this is the difference with France and Poland. But if I can come back to your questions, what I miss from France is maybe the creativity around tech. In Poland, we are much more on execution. In France, we love creativity, we love art, we love all these kind of things. It's not really the case. I mean, it's not so intense in Poland. But in contrary, French are a little bit afraid about risk, about taking the risk to jump into an entrepreneur adventure is quite different in Poland. They're not afraid to start a business. So it's a balance.
Yeah, that's a bit of the challenger position, but that's also the good part of it. And just to come back to what you're saying, I believe it's funny every time we ask a French person what he or she miss about France. One of the first things is food. I think we really love French food, so it's always one part of the answer. Yes. Okay. So to go back to discussing a bit about technology, you mentioned earlier that the tech scene is pretty strong in Poland, and actually, HackerRank shared a study when they revealed that Polish developers are among the 5 best in the world. How does it work? How did it happen? Can you explain? Yeah, can you explain a bit more? How is the tech scene in Krakow and this IT that is so prominent?
Maybe let me explain a little bit of history to understand why IT is so strong in Poland, or in Krakow especially. In the 90s, American companies started to arrive in Central and Eastern Europe to take advantage of the language capacities of Central Europe, and especially in Poland. People speak very well English, and they speak many different languages. So they started to build some shared services centers, and especially like customer services centers. And it was at the end of the beginning of the 90s, and this was the collapse of the Soviet Union. It was a new beginning for Poland, and technical universities started their transition from heavy engineering topics like mining, like all the strong industry we could find in the Soviet Union. And they shifted from this industry to IT, thanks to these American companies like IBM, AT&T, also French companies like Orange and all that. They helped universities to switch from industry to IT, and it took time, and step by step, both companies and universities adapted. So in these IT companies, they were understanding that there is now a potential for having great engineers. So they trained them on the last technologies of the United States, and now we are seeing a lot of R&D centers in Poland, because engineers just were trained with the best technologies, with great universities, and there is, for example, the global digital delivery center of HSBC, which is in Krakow. Like everything you see from HSBC is done from Krakow. A lot of banks are using IT engineers in Poland, because they are great in development, they are great in security, in cloud, in project management. So this is how it came, where it comes from. And today we are talking about like 50,000 IT employees only in Krakow. So it's huge, and it's not only working for corporations, it's also working for small startups. You know what it is, Billy? There are some nice AI machine learning companies. There are great IoT companies. Everything around IT is really important in Krakow. The main startups we see, there are, I would say 80% of them, they are focused only on IT. It's marketing automation, it's AI, it's like booking system, like we saw with Booksy. So a lot of stuff like that.
is it attractive right now? Because I mean, thanks a lot first for the lesson of history. It was really interesting, and few years, decades passed by, and now the Polish market is growing pretty strong. So it did change the trend, and is Poland now attractive for European or American companies?
Of course. France is the fourth investor in Poland, foreign investor. I mean, it's still attractive. We are talking about 20 billion euro investment per year from France. So of course it's still attractive. There are always some little showstoppers. For example, the salaries are going up. There is inflation of 15% now because Ukraine is not so far, and the conflict is impacting us. There are always different pros and cons for expanding in a new country. For me, well, I'm living here and I'm not really.
You're probably convinced.
For me, there is still opportunities. It's still fun to work here. If you don't speak Polish, it's not a problem. You can do everything in English. So yes, it's still attractive, and there are plenty things to do. When I was talking, for example, about green tech, really, if you are a startup in the green tech, just try to get interested about Poland, because there are plenty of things to do. It's purely in the energy transition now, switching from coal to renewable production means. So there are plenty of opportunities.
And if you would have to say one con of working or coming to Poland, like a challenge maybe.
The problem we have now is if you want to raise funds in Poland, it's very difficult. I talked about it just before, but to be more precise, it's really hard to get some funding, and that's why when you need fundings, you look around United States to get some important ticket to develop fast. And from the time you have an investor from US, you're not a Polish company anymore. So your headquarters is moving to Silicon Valley and so on. And that's why we are losing a lot of unicorns. So this is the kind of the current ecosystem. Would say it's a lack of investment and a lack of, not lack of investment, but a lack of capacity of investment. So this is a cons. Around Poland in general, how to say, when you are an expat, you are amazed about everything and you love challenges, I always say I love my little what the fuck moment when there is a situation I wasn't prepared for, but it's challenging and I need to go over that. So there are not a lot of cons, especially in Cracovie. It's a lovely city. You can do everything. You can work everywhere. There is a lot of work. There is like 3.5% of unemployment rate. It's nothing. So the cons, I don't know. What about you, Billy? What do you think about?
I don't know. I wasn't prepared for this question, to be honest. Yes, but I wasn't prepared to answer it. So I'll have to think a bit, but we'll see.
Basically,
I don't want to say bad things.
The answer is because it's pretty great to be here.
I am convinced. Poland and Krakow seem to be a really good city. I really feel that there is a good vibe and there is some opportunities here. And actually, maybe to close this episode, because we had a really good discussion, and as I mentioned, Krakow seems to be a really good city. I want to ask if there is a company or an entrepreneur, a corporation with the will to enter the Polish market, what would be the first step? How would you advise them?
So first of all, to contact us. So we have our social network on Facebook, LinkedIn, we have our website. So they can reach us. And, we are entrepreneurs, we are volunteers. So all our services are for free, for everyone, for startups and so on. So if you need information just to taste what is Poland, just contact us, and then we'll direct you to the right experts who can answer your question if we don't have them.
So thank you again, Romain. It was a really pleasant conversation. Thank you everyone for being with us. I hope you enjoy the talk with Romain Rebour, president of la French Tech Cracovie. The session is available on video on YouTube and audio only on all the global podcast platforms. Follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube to be updated about the next episode. Romain discussed earlier about green tech and fighting the air pollution in Krakow. One of our episodes is with Airly, so stay tuned. It was a pleasure for me. I hope for you as well. Thank you very much. À bientôt.